Primes are some of the most efficient and best figures ever designed in Heroclix. In this video, we're going to take a look at the top 5 Prime figures in Bronze Age. As usual, we're going to take a look at a couple of honorable mentions. The first being Alyosha Craven, and the second one being Micron. Both of these characters should probably be in the top 5, but there are a couple of restrictions. Mainly, you'd have to play them on specific type of teams. For example, Craven has to be played on an animal team or else he's not that good. And Micron has to be played on an Alpha Strike type of team or he's just not as strong. Looking at Craven real quick, he is obviously a must on animal teams. He brings an additional bystander that can act on its own while he's on the map, and it does have charging blades. And the special attack power is the one that puts him over the top for those teams, as it gives great mobility as well as attacking capabilities. He has a great dial for offensive capabilities with charge and close combat expert with an 11 attack, 3 damage, and then he later goes on to outwit flurry blades. So all in all, Craven is something that most animal teams should use, and he can attack. He can also be an attacker, not just a support piece. Micron functions almost the same way. He's great on Alpha Strike teams, like I said, and with Empower, Enhancement, and Close Combat Expert, he's a good secondary attacker, as well as a support piece for other attackers. His size change and sidestep abilities from his trait gives him a little bit more mobility, obviously, and reach. With his size change, with him being able to go colossal, he will have giant reach 3, and obviously as for a prime, he's going to have a great dial, good attacks, good defense, good damage, and he does have close combat expert, the whole dial. Okay, now moving on to the top 5. At number 5, we have a figure here that we don't see that much, but I still think this is a number 5 piece. It's a Nighthawk Prime, an oldie but goodie. You can see by the old style card. But the main thing that you're going to want to play him for is that trait where he basically, you don't get any combat value boosts, right? So if you're not next to him, no one on the opposing team gets any bonuses whatsoever, no modifications. And with the amount of perplex and power gems, close combat expert, and range combat experts there is in the format, his trait is really useful. As well, he has another trait that prevents mind control for friendlies. So against teams like Batman Prime and let's say Scarab with a Liar Ring, or any of those other teams that can mind control you and mess up your formation, things like that, he prevents that. He does have ESD and shape change for defensive capabilities, and his shape change is a special shape change where he gets a +1 to his shape change roll for each friendly character adjacent to him. So he can basically succeed on a 2 through 6 if you have enough characters. And he has outwit, so that he does have some support power. Now the main problem with him being a little bit more expensive than most of these figures, he's 65 points. He is hard to fit on a theme team because he only has 2 keywords, Politician and Squadron Supreme, which is pretty hard to put him on. And Alpha Strike hurts him because teams that play Dropship, let's say if they're playing Micron, they can easily base him, and now they get their bonuses. And you have to protect him, otherwise if he goes down, then there goes your defensive shell, right? So a lot of times he will be in the back, out of the fray, because a lot of teams can target him, and with only having a 17 defense, they can just charge him and kill him in one shot. And with only a 10 attack, 6 range, sidestep for movement, he does have very little offensive use. So you're basically paying 65 points for no combat boost on the other side, as well as no mind control for you against you, but he has to stay in the back, so you're kind of playing 235 points. All right, moving on to number 4, we have Bishop. This is the anti-range piece, as you know, when he brings in the Shard Bystander, as you see there, he they cannot shoot unless they're within 5. So if anybody's playing, again, Batman Prime, or someone's shooting from long range, maybe Hawkeye or whoever it may be, they have to get close. And he does have Outwit. He has the toughness for some defensive capabilities and support power. He can go in many theme teams, but he doesn't have to be on a theme team because his anti-range tech that he brings is something that you can put on any team. But if you want to put him on a Latveria team, an X-Men team, heck, he can even go on an Avenger team if you want to bring him in with Steve Rogers or S.H.I.E.L.D., right? But all in all, he's a pretty decent piece. He has, but the main thing that hurts him is Lord Doom. Because if Lord Doom is on the board and they have less characters than you, and you're playing Bishop, you can't make a shard, and then now they could probably shoot you and you're dead. As well, if the bystander dies, he's basically useless. And his offensive capabilities are very situational. Although he does have running shot and outwit, he's only a 10 attack, and he does get a bump for people that have certain keywords, or if you can use prob, but that's situational at best. So I wouldn't really rely on him being an offensive threat. But he is a great piece if the format is moving towards ranged base combat. Number 3, it's definitely moving up in my personal list. This for me was number 5, but after seeing him played on multiple teams and just wreaking havoc on multiple on both his point values, I gotta move Emperor Gladiator up a notch. He's number 3. Like I mentioned earlier, he has 2 point dials. One is a range based with a running shot pen blast, and the other one is a close combat with charge and close combat expert. He has traded Mastermind to leadership, and he has cosmic energy, so they can't outwit it. His confidence token trait is kind of what puts him over the top for longevity, and kind of you have a lot of security there. Confidence, right? It goes hand in hand. He is a great offensive threat because he does have 12 attack and 4 damage, 3 damage. He has prob. That's the main thing that that I really love. And he can go in many theme teams. He can go on Shi'ar teams, Starjammer teams. He can even go on like X-Men swap teams because Professor X can bring him in. He can go on cosmic teams, ruler teams, soldier teams, like Spider Family. The possibilities are almost endless with this guy. And if he wants to go on an Avenger team, he could easily be brought on onto an Avenger team with Steve Rogers. The only thing that really he isn't, why he wouldn't be higher, is he really needs to be with the confidence token, because without it, or Mastermind fodder, he goes down fairly quickly. Because if you're playing him at the 50 point value and if they're pen blasting you and you don't have anyone around you that you can Mastermind to, he could just go down. But also the confidence token can either negate the damage or it can reduce the penetrating damage, which is kind of what you need for this piece to live. But that's the only thing, and that's very little, because for the most part you're going to have something to Mastermind to on your side. So Emperor Gladiator could even go higher at some point, but it's going to be tough to beat these next 2. Number 2 is Giganta. She is also a figure that has 2 point values, although for the most part you will be using her on the 25 point dial. From this list, she is the cheapest out of all of them. She has a great retail trait because it doesn't go off of Colossal Retaliation, it's Giant Retaliation. So if someone else uses Colossal Retaliation, she can still do her stuff. However, it does require, I believe, it doesn't even have the if no one has been placed either. So they can retail with the Colossal Retaliation, and then she can Giant Retaliation. Now the interesting thing about her retail is she can do it on the same turn. She can do it on your turn as long as you have a Wonder Woman that attacks, because then she can go over there, which is kind of weird because they haven't attacked you, but she's retaliating already. Anyway, she has Wildcard and Wonder Woman TA. Wildcard is, of course, something that you can always use, especially on a piece that's 25 points. You're not really investing anything on there. Her defensive power and attack power are amazing. Great. The defensive power is invuln, and she only takes 1 damage from characters that don't have the giant symbol. So unless you're going against another Giganta, it's going to be hard to KO her unless they outwit the defense. She has a great attack power, which is the Quake, where she can do her printed damage to characters, or if she uses Quake and she targets more than one, she does her printed damage. So she's going to be doing 3 to multiple people. With being a giant and having giant reach too, that's really good, especially on a retail. Whew. She has outwit too for afterwards, and again, the theme here, she can go on many theme teams aside from Secret Six and Scientists, which are what the 2 teams she goes on the most. Any Wonder Woman that's being played, she can basically add 25 points and she could go on there because she can get the keyword of Wonder Woman. So she could go on a Soldier team, Justice League team, Ruler, Amazon, you name it. The only downside is, a couple of them, is you need to play Wonder Woman for full effectiveness. Now, that's only if you wanted to use her on other types of teams. But Scientist, Secret Six, pretty good. She only has a 10 attack on her low point dial, but then again, she already does so many other things, so I guess it's okay, especially if you have Perplex or anything that can boost the attack to an 11. That's pretty solid. I know most of the Retaliators that you're going to be playing are going to have 11 or 12 attacks as the lowest. So that's the kind of the downside of her going over there. But if she's using Quake and you hit multiple people and they have different defense values, she might hit somebody. So, and then moving on to number 1, of course, we all know it, Batman. And this guy in bronze is a house. He has one of the best traits in the game, and that's the one where he can basically shoot anyone within line of fire, regardless of range, as long as he can see them. He's a great offensive capabilities for only 40 points. He can either use Mastermind or Pen Blast, because he does get that throughout his dial. He has Colossal Stamina and Mastermind, makes him hard to KO, and he can keep going, even if he has 2 tokens. And he is more potent in Bronze Age with equipment and ATAs. Equipment like Entities that can give him Pen Blast with his 12 attack, Precision Strike even with all that. Oh, that's crazy. You can pump up his damage with Shield Enhancement, even an Entity. And he also can be equipped with Pin Particles. Now this is huge because if you give him Pin Particles for 2 points, you can choose Giant, and now if you're on an outdoor map and he's Giant, he can see over everyone, and now he can mind control, Pen Blast, whatever, on everyone. And then of course he could go on many theme teams, right? The main ones: Martial Artists, Justice League, Batman Family, Gotham City. But if you want, you could put him on an Avenger or Shield team with Steve Rogers, or even you could put him on Doom teams when Amanda Waller can take his keyword and then jump over to Latveria. So he can definitely play on just about any team you could think of, and you could just throw him on too, as long as you can make him effective with his trait. But the downside is he does need line of fire, so indoor maps hurt, which is why most of the time you'll see him, he'll be on a theme team so they can win the map roll. And mind control is not as good in Bronze Age because there are a lot more ways to stop it. Case in point, Nighthawk Prime. So, but either way, 40-point investment, Batman, they're going to have to deal with. And if they do, they're going to have to deal with another 1 or 2 or 3 attackers on top of him. So there you have it. That's the top 5 primes in bronze. Let me know what you guys think. What do you think should be on here if I missed any? What do you think should be kicked off? Or are the placements on the top 5 a little off? Let me know. We do have a big event coming up this week, so we'll see a lot of these in action. So can't wait for that. All right, well, thanks for watching. We're getting close to that 1,000 subscriber mark. Please like, subscribe, comment, and see you in the next one. Bye.